And gentlemen, this is an update on NSDQ420. It has had a rough few months. A lot of meme coins have down around 83% in the last 3 months, sitting at sub 700K. That's a new low. It had a local low back in April at around 900, maybe 950K. And you can see it scaled down significantly within the past few weeks. I have a major crypto list that I look at. It's like a watch list on Dex Screener, and it's all these low cap meme coins on Ethereum, Solana, and Base. And NSDQ was one of the worst performers during the like week or 2 week long mass sell off that we had with Bitcoin. I mean, what did Bitcoin go from 125K to 85K? And so I was wondering, what's the issue here? I mean, this coin's been built up significantly. The team's done a very nice job. They've built up the Reddit. They've built up the Telegram is always active. The X is always active. At least it was. And they've built up their TikTok and everything. And so, what's the issue with this coin in relation to other coins? Well, what happened to this coin is their account got suspended. And it's pretty insane when you look at the NSDQ account. There were obviously the other issues with CoinGecko, where CoinGecko said, hey, we're booting you off because NASDAQ Incorporated said we don't want any name, image, likeness affiliation. That's why the name change happened to NSDQ420. So you had that, and now you have this to where the first word of the account was parody. The title of the account was parody and then NSDQ420. And so how frustrating is that? The first word is parody and it still gets suspended. People suggesting, well, maybe it was mass reported. Maybe it had something to do with the at being at NASDAQ 420 ERC, or I don't know. It makes no sense. The first, the actual title of the account, the first word being parody, and it still gets booted. And they're talking about making a new one. I think there was around 27 or 2,800 followers. I do think an account is important. You look at SPX. Yes, SPX account got suspended, but it got suspended, I believe, after they already had run up to 700, 800 million, whatever it is, with NSDQ. Obviously, it's a lot lower. So was this a targeted attack? You look at it, you think it's kind of surprising if it was a targeted attack by who? I mean, what's the competition here? The coin's at 1.5 million when this happens, and then it retraces back to 600K. Is somebody really targeting NSDQ? I don't understand it. I mean, now if the coin was at 20 or 30 million, I could understand people seeing it maybe as more competition. So to me, it's just a bit strange that, if that's what happened to where it was targeted. I will say, in terms of X in general, with the way they suspend these accounts, it's horrible. It's happened to so many coin accounts to where the official account gets suspended for no reason, whether it's a targeted attack, whether it's someone, trying to shoot it off. It happens with coins that have huge followings, let alone 27 or 2,800 followers, which is what NSDQ had. So, maybe that contributed to some of the downturn in it. And you take a look at NSDQ just in terms of the chart. This is the weekly chart, and you can see where it is right now. We would imagine there has to be some level of support at some point, considering it's at 620K. It's not financial advice. Obviously, this is dependent on whatever the thesis of that you want to believe in terms of, is this the ultimate? Are we headed for the crypto winter with Bitcoin back under 90K, back where it is like 85, 87K? Or is this going to be a crazy extended cycle where we finally will see an alt season with Ethereum? Let's understand something. You look at NSDQ, you say, well, the price action's been really bad. Well, the price action's been really bad on basically all the meme coins. The higher caps are going to be able to hold up more than the lower caps because there's more volatility with a coin that's, worth a lot less. You're going to see ebbs and flows. You're going to see a 5x gain in a day. You're going to see a massive decrease in a day. It's just the reality of it. But, Ethereum can't even break its own high from 2021. How are these Ethereum alts that are low caps going to do anything? It's so challenging. So, there's really, and people say, well, are you going to sell? There's nothing to sell. You're not going to sell it at a low at this point. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, just for reference, the way you make money, like you really make money, unless you get one in 1 million luck. And by the way, I've been in crypto for a while and this has never happened to me. It's extremely, extremely rare to where you buy a coin and then boom, in a week it 100x's. It just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. The way you make money is you hold for long periods of time. It's very boring, but it's just the reality. So with a coin like this, we're coming up on a year in terms of holding. That's fine. This is just the reality of it. And, I used to hold SPX. In fact, in 2024, in April of 2024, I bought around 270,000 coins of SPX for $3,000. And then I sold in early September before the massive run. And I ended up losing money on that sale. I sold for probably $2,700. The point is you must keep holding. You pick coins you believe in, and then you just hold and you hope you DCA when you can. That's kind of the strategy I take. So, it's unfortunate that this account got banned on X, and, they might create a new one. I think you could argue the issue is the actual @ this is not the title of the account, but it's at NSDQ420 ERC. Maybe they don't like the fact that it's a NASDAQ there. So maybe if they change the @ to NSDQ or something, they might be. But the problem is, just as a general sense, you really cannot rely on X accounts. There has to be an overall community to where there's so many accounts. Obviously, they're not going to ban them. If you have just one specific account and it's the meme coin main account, which I think is important for like noobs looking at the coin and seeing the propaganda. But if you have one account, it becomes an issue because they'll suspend it at any point. They don't have to tell you why. There's no actual process. It just gets suspended and that's it. And so a coin like this that had an account that first word was parity, it gets suspended. They I think they're trying to get it back. They're probably not going to be able to. Maybe they do. But the way X works, it's hard to rely on an account. It really is. So that's kind of what happened to that. But like I would just say in terms of you just have to pick coins. And listen, there's really nothing we can do about this. I'm not trying to, give excuses for the recent price action or whatever. But like what has Ethereum done? What has Ethereum done? Seriously. Like maybe you can say, has it even reached a new high? Well, it says it reached a new high 3 months ago. But like, it hit its all-time high. It really has. We haven't even seen a $5,000 Ethereum yet. Think about how crazy that is. Ethereum hit, almost $5,000 in 2021. We haven't seen it hit $5,000 yet. So what does that really mean about the market, about Ethereum memes, about how are these coins going to do? Well, yes, you can see coins go on crazy runs, but for the actual, cycle and the price action, it's a challenge when Ethereum struggles like this. Down 36% in the last 3 months. And you've got low cap coins that are really susceptible to retracements. It becomes an issue. This coin, obviously, an all-time high of around 16 million. That happened just a few months after it was created, and that was more of a, we know what happened in, you look back in December and January, and there was a big craze, and the idea of Trump entering the White House, and then Trump launches his coin, and then we have that crazy liquidity suck, the volume drain. We have another bullish time in midsummer, and we thought we were headed for just a crazy fall and a crazy winter, but this is the part of why it's not going to happen overnight. This is unfortunate, but and then you have your own thesis and your own theory, and maybe this is a crazy extended cycle and the 4-year cycle is over. If the 4-year cycle is still legitimate, what is the 4-year cycle for Ethereum? I guess Ethereum reached its all-time high from a low of like 1,500 back in April, but still, like, that's just not Ethereum obviously did not have a good performance. And even Bitcoin, you could argue now, what they'll do is they'll compare Bitcoin versus its previous cycle low, which was like 12,000 versus what it went to, which was 125K. But like compare its highs, 69K to 125K. What is that, a 2X, a little bit over a 2X? Is that really, I was thinking 160, 170K. You look at all the indicators, the Bitcoin indicators that indicate a cycle top, none of them were hit out of 30. Now that maybe you could say those are prehistoric indicators, they don't matter anymore because it's a different time in crypto. But if you look at all the top numbers in the indicators, unless this is a completely different thing, you would think there has to be another leg up, especially for Ethereum. But maybe this is just how it is with dilution in crypto. Bitcoin is still sitting around $2 trillion. It's one of the most valuable assets in the world. So it's not like Bitcoin is gone away and we can really blame that. It still has performed well. Not to the levels that we thought it was going to. Maybe there would be, 170, 180, $4 trillion total market cap. And then the flow into Ethereum and it creates a $10,000 Ethereum. But to me, it's just this type of price action is going to significantly hurt lower cap Ethereum alts. And by the way, lower cap Solana alts have gotten annihilated. So it's not just Ethereum. But on top of that, with this coin in specific, like you compare this coin to the MicroStrategy coin, I think the MicroStrategy coin is still hovering around 1 million. I mean, it's at 1.2. So the MicroStrategy coin compared to NSDQ, and by the way, I'm not invested in the MicroStrategy coin, and I hope the MicroStrategy coin does well, but I mean, it has a much different chart to where it had a much bigger boom, but it's really suffered a significant fall. And you did have NSDQ go to around 9 to 10 million. This coin only made it to 5 or 6 million in the summer, but I was looking at the MicroStrategy coin in comparison to NSDQ, and now it seems like NSDQ is a little bit lower. It's not financial advice. You got to look at a DCA opportunity here, but look, people can do whatever they want. The Twitter, you look at the Twitter, really? Seriously? It got suspended for what? They just suspend it because it gets reported by people and they don't even look into it. They probably just report it for impersonation or something. If for impersonation, that's why it's titled parody. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But they've built it. This coin has been built out significantly. The website's been updated. Like, look at all this. You're not going to find many coins that have all these different socials. And there's not a lot of activity on the socials because the coin's at 600K, so there's not many holders. Let's be real. If there's more holders, I'm saying all the infrastructure to this coin has already been built up. It has been. And I've held this coin for many months, and this is just the reality of what crypto is. Yeah, but I'm saying this is not normal, what we're seeing with this cycle. And maybe this is just the reality of how it is, and maybe we are in for a bit of a tough time. But you look at this and, I mean, I don't really know what to say, but it's unfortunate that we really didn't see it, at least to this point. Maybe it's an extended cycle. I think the 4-year cycle probably gets invalidated because this was it. This was the timing. It was going to happen. I mean, you could maybe extend it to December. Obviously, this has to go through a major recovery. Unless it just does something insane with Bitcoin. Like, I don't even know what Bitcoin is at right now. But normally when you're talking about a recovery for Bitcoin, this takes months. This doesn't just happen overnight to where it goes back up to 100K. This will probably take time. Traditionally, the Bitcoin recovery is going to take time. I mean, if it goes from 125K to 87K, it's under 2 trillion now. It loses probably 600 billion in total market cap. It's probably going to take some time to recover, so we'll have to see. But either way, guys, that's just the update on NSDQ. I don't give out financial advice here. You look at a DCA opportunity at this point if you believe in the coin, but obviously it's the daily chart you can see. So we'll have to see what ends up happening to it. But either way, guys, like even look at SPX. The other thing I was saying with SPX, SPX had a long trudge where you look at SPX, what was it ranging from? What is this date? It's like August to, it's about a year. So it was out for about a year before it had its crazy run. It was ranging from about 28 million to about 2 million. Yeah, so this has been out for about 13 months, so a little bit longer. And it's been ranging from about 16 million to around 500K. I mean, it took a year for SPX. I'm not trying to compare the two, but I'm just saying you've got to give it time. And especially when you're dealing with a situation where Ethereum is performing so badly, it's going to hurt these coins. And then on top of that, you get the account suspended. I don't know if the account getting suspended hurt it that much. I mean, maybe it did, but obviously it was going to go through a downturn whether or not the account got suspended, but I think it was just an insult to injury type thing. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. This is not financial advice. Thank you for watching.